seated. Find a comfortable seat. And go ahead and bring your hands on your knees. And see if you can pull your pelvis into a forward tilt. So if your pelvis was like a bowl full of water, see if you can try to pour that out the front of the bowl. So your pubic bone will drop down away from your navel towards the floor, and you'll roll towards the front edges of your sit bones. And then come into a back tilt. So pouring the water out the back of the bowl, your tailbone will curl underneath you, pubic bone draws a little closer to the navel, and you rock towards the back of your sit bones. And then we'll just do a couple of those moving with the breath. So let the inhale tip your pelvis forward, maybe exaggerate a little bit, opening up the chest. And then exhale, tip the pelvis back. We'll do two more like that. And then you're going to rock somewhere in between those two to find neutral. And it might be helpful to draw the flesh kind of diagonally back away from your sit bones. And then see how that goes. And if that's not enough of like if your butt's not enough of a bolster to kind of help keep you in that neutral pelvis, then go ahead and bring a blanket underneath your sit bones. That should help. And then you're going to bring your peace fingers right in between your eyebrows. And you're going to block off your left nostril with your ring finger and your pinky. And you'll block, higher up on the nostrils, so not right down by the entrance, especially if you've been stuffy at all lately, it'll be less likely to stick closed. So close right up at the top of that left nostril and just breathe on the right side a few times. If you are congested and this is not possible to do because you don't feel like you're getting enough breath, or even if you're not congested but you just don't feel like you're going to get enough breath, you can not actually block the nostril, just imagine that you're only breathing through the right side. And then we'll try to get on the same pace, so taking another breath in. And exhale. Staying on that right side, inhale for a count of 2, 3, 4. Block right side and hold for 2, 3, 4. Exhale left for 2, 3, 4. And hold for 2, 3, 4. Inhale left for 2, 3, 4. And hold for 2, 3, 4. Exhale right for 2, 3, 4. In and hold for 2, 3, 4. So keep going. We're holding the exhale and the inhale retentions. And the goal of pranayama is the same as the goal of practicing yoga, is trying to get a nice, steady, calm mind so that we can be present. So if that count is making you feel really agitated, if it's too long or too short, just adjust this so it can still be a challenge on the retentions, but not so much of a challenge that you feel like you're starting to feel a little bit of a panic in those holds. And so see if you can get to a place where you have an even count I think about this as like a square breath. So even count on the inhale holds, the exhale holds, and then back around. If you are feeling like you're not getting enough breath, you can also use the finger that's holding the nostril. On the inhale, if you kind of press it and kind of pull up a little bit, you can almost open up that, that side for the inhales. So you can almost like dig a little fingernail in and like lift the flesh at the top of that nostril to help open up the passageway. If you're just joining us, we're doing alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhana. So if you know it, great. If you don't, just start to come into a nice even breath. Inhales, exhales the same length, and maybe start to play around with a little bit of a hold at the top of the inhale, at the bottom. And we're going to do one more round, or rather finish the round that you're on. And so the end of the round will be the right side exhale, and then you can begin to breathe through both sides again. And notice how you feel. And then we're going to move on to our backs. So if you don't have a set of tennis or tune-up or similar balls, go ahead and take, roll up a small blanket or a towel so you have something that's not much bigger than a ball. And that's going to work just fine for what we're doing. And so we're going to lie back with either your rolled up towel or your balls right in the upper back. So right below where your neck and your shoulders come together. Hold your head. Your knuckles can be resting on the ground. But if this is too much of a back bend already, you could have your hands off the ground as well. And then just go ahead and knees bent, feet on the floor, lift your hips and just let some pressure sink into whatever it is that you're resting on. If your head is on the ground on your knuckles, go ahead and lift everything up. And you're just going to draw your left upper back, left shoulder blade away from the balls as you kind of side bend to the right. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So your right shoulder slides away from whatever it is that you're resting on. You do a little side bend to the left. And then let everything rest down again. You can even release your head if you can, if that's not too much of a back bend. And then as we did seated, on your inhale, tip your pelvis forward. And on your exhale, tip your pelvis back. And we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. On your exhale, we're gonna hold the back tilt of the pelvis. So your pelvis is tipped back, you can continue to breathe, you don't have to hold your breath. So your lower back should be firm on the mat. You're pouring the water out the back of the bowl. And then go ahead and hold your head again. And keeping your pelvis tipped back, so you're taking the back bend out of your lower back, go ahead and lift your hips up. And maybe lift your head up. And where you have the balls or the blanket, just imagine you could move just at that joint in your spine, and you're gonna keep your pelvis tucked back and slowly lower your hips back down, maybe lower your head back down. But imagine you could hinge just at the joint that's resting on the balls or the blanket. And we'll do that one more time. So inhale, you can even tip your pelvis forward again if you'd like on the inhale. Exhale, tip your pelvis back, hold that back tip, and then lift the hips up. Maybe re-tip the hips again back, so you're taking the back bend out of your lower back. And then just from the joint that's resting on the balls of the blanket, you're gonna hinge there to lower the hips back down. And then release. Roll yourself back another 2 inches or so. So we're in a new part of the upper back, but we're still working on the part of the spine, the upper thoracic spine that's attached to the rib cage. So this is the part of the back that doesn't like to move quite as easily because of the shape of the bones and just from many different habits that we might have. So again, you can hold the head if you'd like. Let's inhale and tip the pelvis forward. Exhale, tip the pelvis back. Inhale, tip the pelvis forward. Exhale, back. And another like this. Now I'm working with the tune-up balls, which are pretty squishy. If you're working with tennis balls, that might not be as comfortable. You can always put a layer of blanket down on your mat and then put the balls on top of that, and it will take some of the pressure off. We're gonna tip the pelvis back again, just like we did before. Hold the head, lift the hips up, re-tip the pelvis back, just to make sure that you're not letting any back bend come into that lower back. And then we're gonna lower the hips back down as if you could hinge just from the joint that's resting on the balls. And we'll do that again. Inhale. Exhale, tip the pelvis back. You can think about the tailbone lengthening forward and lift the hips up. Reach that tailbone forward again. And then hinge at the spine to lower the hips back down. So we're just trying to encourage this part of our spine to participate in a little bit of a back bend where the easy thing would be to just arch the lower back to get the hips to the ground. So we're trying to isolate the movement a little bit in the upper back. So let's slide back again, another inch, 2 inches. So you're still on the rib cage spine. And we'll do the same thing. And you'll notice as we get closer to the hips, the back tipping of the pelvis becomes a little bit more of a challenge because we're kind of naturally pushing our back into a back bend lower down the spine. So inhale, tip the pelvis forward. Exhale back. 2 more. And this is just giving your back a little massage. Starting to wake this area up. The next time you tip pelvis back, hold it back. And again, lift the hips out. Lengthen the tailbone forward. And see if you can imagine hinging just at that joint to bring the hips back down. Inhale. Exhale. Lift the hips. Lengthen the tailbone forward. And then again, hinge at that part of your spine to bring the hips down. And we'll take the balls or the blanket out. If this was longer, if we had like a 2-hour workshop, maybe we slowly make our way down the spine in 12 steps. try to get every joint, but we do not have that kind of time. So come to rest in constructive rest, knees bent, feet on the ground. You can add some support behind the head if you need it. We'll wrap the left leg around the right and roll over onto the right side. And then reach the left arm up to the ceiling. And see if you can feel that left shoulder blade swim up towards the left fingertips. That arm is just going to drag you right up off the ground. And instead, you start to take it out to the left any amount. And when you come up to some resistance where it starts to feel a little intense or like you have to really kind of push to get yourself further into the twist, just pause. And see if you can breathe in a way where you're pushing your side ribs out wider with your inhales. Especially your lower side ribs. You might even imagine your breath moving into your lower back. And after a couple of breaths, your body might become more comfortable being in this shape, and you might naturally kind of unwind into a deeper twist, taking it to the next point of resistance, where you pause and breathe. We'll be here for about 10 more breaths. So we're not doing that square breath where we're holding the retentions. But can your inhale and your exhale be about the same length? And for the last few breaths here, can you notice where you feel the most comfortable? Maybe where you feel the most supported. Follow your next exhale to the very bottom of your breath. And then go ahead and unwind. Back to constructive rest. And then right leg over the left and roll into your left side. And there's no rush. Take your right arm up to the ceiling. And really feel like it's reaching up, sliding up there. So you feel your chest broaden, you feel the shoulder blades spread wide on your back. And then take it out to the right, any amount. And rather than trying to blow through the resistance that you come up against, give your body time to adjust. Using your breath to create more space from the inside out into your rib cage. And so that focus on your breathing, keeping it nice and steady, that's going to go much further than the physical effort of pushing into the pose. to let your body know, like, this is a safe place for me to go. This is an okay place to be. And so after a while, after breathing that way, having that type of a conversation with your nervous system, maybe your body just naturally opens up more. And even if it doesn't, if you've already come to your limit in this shape, notice where you feel good. I find I often focus so much on, moving into that area of discomfort and figuring out how to like handle that, navigate that, which is really helpful, because God knows we're going to come up against so much discomfort in our lives, regular lives off the mat. But I'm finding it just as important maybe to notice, where's the ease, what feels good, what feels supportive. Follow to the bottom of your next breath. And then with your inhale, unwind. Coming back to constructive rest. Extend your legs down your mat. Reach the arms overhead, take a big stretch. And then on your next exhale, take your arms up towards the ceiling, bring your chin in towards your chest, and see if you can press one joint at a time of your spine down into the floor as you roll up from your head to your hips. Can you feel each bone push down? Rolling forward. We're going to inhale, hold the outside of your right leg with your left hand. Take your right arm up. Exhale, take it down. Right hand to the outside of your left leg. Inhale, left arm up. And then exhale, roll up to a seat. Let's tip the pelvis forward. Inhale, open up your chest, bend your knees as much as you need to do this. And then exhale from your tail to your head. We'll roll back down. See if you can move one joint at a time as best you can. Noticing the joints that want to move as a unit. Inhale, take the arms up alongside the ears. And then exhale, arms to the ceiling, chin to the chest. And again, roll up. Left hand outside the right leg or foot. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right arm down, outside the left leg or left foot. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, roll up to a seat. Top pelvis tips forward. Inhale, open up your chest. And then exhale, roll it down. One more time, inhale, arms up. Exhale, reach to the ceiling, chin to the chest. Maybe it's getting a little bit better. Maybe you're just getting tired. Left hand outside the right leg. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Exhale, change sides. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, roll up to a seat. Inhale, open up your chest. And then this time as you exhale, feet to the floor, round your back. Rock towards the front of your sit bones. Rock towards your tailbone. So as if you're just going to sit right on your own tail and then lift your feet up. You could use your hands to balance. You can hold the back of your thighs, squeeze your legs together, spread your toes. Maybe release your arms, maybe straighten your legs. Everybody, think about your sit bones, your tailbone curling underneath you towards your heels. And as you imagine that you could take your tailbone and curl it right up towards your heels, can you feel some of the effort move from the front of the hips into the lower belly? So your tailbone is helping bring your pelvis into a little bit of a back tilt, a little bit of a flexion in your lower spine, even as you keep your chest lifted. And then we'll cross the ankles, come up to tabletop, and tuck the toes under. And you can reach back and spread the toes, keeping them tucked under. Maybe keep your hands on the ground and just reach back through the heels. And maybe walk your hands up onto your thighs and sit up on your heels. You could do this like a hybrid with a block, so you're not all the way down, but you're not all the way up. Actively try to spread your toes at the same time as you try to lift them towards the fronts of your ankles. So your toes are actively trying to open up in that direction rather than just the pressure doing the work. And then walk your hands back by your feet. Let the heels drop down, open up through the backs of the lower legs. Notice how you're breathing. And then we'll lift the heels into a fold. Knees can be as bent as you like. Maybe hold opposite elbows. And then walk yourself into downward facing dog. Feel how long you can get your spine here. Pushing down through all your knuckles. Pushing your feet through the floor in a way that helps lift the hips up and back. Inhale, come to a plank. And then exhale, lower all the way onto your belly. And release the knees first if you'd like. And we'll come into Sphinx pose. So forearms parallel, elbows under shoulders. Maybe slightly forward of the shoulders. And you can let that right shoulder dip forward as your left shoulder dips back, peeking over that left shoulder. Maybe using an inhale to come back through center, and an exhale to switch sides. You can do that a couple times on each side. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Excuse me, inhale. And exhale. Back to center. Press the elbows down. Press the fingers down. Lift up from the fronts of the armpits. Let the collarbones wide. And then imagine you could peel your rib cage forward off your lower torso, leaving your legs behind. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, lower down. Bring your forehead to the mat, arms down by your sides. Inhale, lift everything up, coming into your locust pose. Bring your hands under your shoulders and just tip it all back, coming into your cobra. Bend the elbows as much as you need to here. Again, think about peeling your rib cage off of your lower torso. Collarbones spread wide. Fronts of the armpits lift up. One more breath in. And then exhale, child's pose. Steady your breath. Inhale into tabletop. And exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Again, breathe in. As you exhale, bend the knees, lower the hips, looking between your thumbs, and walk your feet to the front of your mat. Moving on to your fingertips, inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Pubic bone and tailbone reach back. You can also have your hands on your shins if the floor is too far away. Exhale, fold down. Push into the feet, stand all the way up. And then exhale, swing your arms down by your sides. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Exhale, plank. Lower all the way onto your belly. Cobra as you inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good, inhale. Exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out, bend the knees, lower the hips, look forward. Walk the feet to the hands. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand up, arms up overhead, Ardha Hastasana. And then exhale, swing your arms into mountain pose. Good, inhale, reach up. As you root the feet down, exhale, fold all the way forward. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Pubic bone and tailbone reach back. Exhale, plank to lower. Good, back bend as you inhale. Use the full breath. Downward facing dog, exhale. Breathe in. Breathe out, seeking that length in your spine. That lift through your groins. Solid base through the hands and the feet. And we'll do one more sun A. Taking a long breath in. Exhale, bend the knees, lower the hips, look forward. Walk, maybe hop your feet up to your hands. Lengthen your heart forward as you inhale. Fold down, exhale. Good. Push through the feet, stand all the way up, staying connected to the press of the feet as you reach up. And then exhale, swim yourself a little taller into mountain pose. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Long spine, inhale. Plank to lower as you exhale. Good. Back bend, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. Find that lift through the hips, soft belly. And you're going to take your right leg back and up like you're painting the wall behind you as you inhale. And then step that right foot in between the hands. As many steps as you need to get it up there. We're going to anchor the back heel down and hold the right hip. Nice deep bend in that right knee. So right knee comes over the ankle. And then as you push off your left foot, stand up, take the left arm up. And you're going to focus on how long you can get from the press of the left foot to the reach of the left arm. Okay, so we're in warrior one. We're just holding the left arm up and holding that right hip. So we're really focusing on that left side. Feel how long you can get from rooting down that left heel all the way up the inseam of that left leg, the left side of the spine, and right up through the left arm. Maybe bend right knee more. Right arm meets the left. Arms alongside the ears, maybe palms touch, maybe gaze at thumbs, or your gaze is somewhere out in front of you. Soft eyes. Take one more breath in. And then exhale, open up into warrior two. And we'll straighten the right leg. So we're setting up for Trikonasana triangle pose. Inhale the right arm out. You're going to tip your hips like you're pouring that water out over your right leg. Right hand's going to come down to floor, block, foot, somewhere on the inside edge of that foot. And then we'll peel the left chest open and pause. Pubic bone and tailbone are reaching back. Heart's reaching forward. And then maybe the left arm reaches towards the ceiling. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. If this is all going well, maybe you can shift your left hip a little further underneath you towards the wall you're facing. Can you still feel your feet on the ground? Okay, good. All right, and then you're going to step your left foot in a little closer to your right. Right hand's going to step forward into the right of that right foot, get you onto a block, and then see if you can take your left leg up off the ground, coming into our half moon pose. As soon as that left leg lifts up, it's wide awake and it's reaching back, as if there was a wall an inch away from you that you were trying to push into with that left foot. Maybe the left arm comes up. Gaze at one spot. Steady breath. And with your next exhale, left foot steps down next to the right. Inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Exhale, fold. Maybe bend the knees a lot. Maybe hold opposite elbows again. Maybe sway it a little bit from side to side. It feels good. And then inhale, lengthen your heart forward. Exhale, plank. to lower. So you can lower all the way down onto your belly. You can catch yourself halfway. Back bend as you inhale. Cobra, upward facing dog. Low cobra. Downward facing dog, exhale. 5 breaths here if you'd like a child's pose. If you want to come into kneeling instead. What would feel restorative before we do the other side? Coming back into downward facing dog if you're not there already. And we'll inhale that left leg back and up. And then exhale, step it forward as many steps as you need to get it up there. And we'll anchor the right heel. So your right toes are angled slightly forward enough so that when you come up into warrior one and your hips are facing forward, you're not jamming the knee. And that might mean your heel isn't totally anchored, but it's moving in that direction, yeah? Let's hold the left hip and then right arm up to the ceiling. And imagine there's like a little tunnel, little connection from the center of your right palm down through that right arm, down the right side of the spine, the inseam of that right leg, and right into the heel. So you have almost like a little wormhole that connects that whole area. Now, how long can you make that? If I could thread a string from your heel up the inseam of your leg, up the right side of your spine, and out through your right palm, how long can you make that string? And then the left arm can join the right. Maybe palms touch, gaze at thumbs. Nothing magic happens if you do that, so if that's not available, just gaze forward, nice and steady with soft eyes. One more breath in, and then exhale, open up into warrior two. Just briefly, just set up for our triangle feet. Straightening out that left leg. Inhale the left arm up. And then again, like you're pouring your pelvis out over your left leg. You can reach down, floor, block, fingertips. Peel the right chest open. And then pause. Make sure you can feel your feet on the ground. Pubic bone and tailbone reach back. Heart, crown of head, reach forward. And then that right arm up to the ceiling. Right arm just an extension of the chest. Both of your shoulder blades spreading wide across your upper back. Chest spreading wide. And then maybe, if this is all feeling good, you can start to shift your right hip underneath your left. Feeling that left hip open any amount. This is not going to be a huge change. You're not going to flatten your whole body out, but it might give you something interesting to work with around that left hip. And then we'll bend the right knee. Walk the right hand and the left foot forward a bit. Find your balance, taking that leg up. I think I just said the wrong, so bend your left knee. You guys already knew. You're good. Okay. And as soon as that right leg lifts up, It's wide awake and it's reaching back. Toes are spread. That's your anchor. Even though that's the leg that's floating, that's your anchor. Trying to reach right into the wall behind you. Good, you still breathing? Can you find something that feels good right now? Good, and the hips close, right foot steps next to the left, and fold forward. Maybe bend the knees, maybe grab the elbows. And just kind of shake it out a little bit. Let's stand all the way up, inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Bring your feet together. Samastitihi. Everything hugging into the midline. And all the effort of everything that we just did, imagine it could just drain down through your central channel. In between your feet. Your feet making all those little micro adjustments to keep you balanced here. And then we'll inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, plank to lower halfway or all the way onto your belly. Back bend as you inhale. And downward facing dog, exhale. From here, we're going to bring the right knee towards the right hand. Setting that knee for pigeon prep. So hips are going to be facing forward. Same height away from the floor. Which, if you're like most humans and your hips are tight, that might mean putting a little bit of support under that right hip. It can feel nice to have the same height kind of under the front of the left hip as you have under the right hip. If this right hip just hovers off the ground, it's going to keep gripping. But if you give it something to rest on, it might get the clue that it doesn't have to work so hard. And then you can fold forward, maybe let your hands cradle your forehead. If this bothers your knee, play around with bringing your heel closer to your pelvis. You might even think about trying to actively close your knee and let your ankle kind of be free. Do whatever it does. So you don't have to flex that right ankle strongly. Just kind of let it hang. And of course, if this feels like way too much, or it just doesn't feel safe for your knee, you can do the figure 4 on your back instead, or have this left foot propped up on a wall. What feels good? Where is there ease? So even if there's an intense situation going on in the right hip, are there areas that you can identify that are comfortable? Maybe just your steady breathing feels good. And then we're gonna sit on the right hip. So if you have something underneath it, take it out. And you're gonna bring your right thigh parallel to the front of your mat. Your right knee can stay bent, or you can straighten the leg. Your back leg is going to straighten back behind you with the toes tucked under. So left toes are tucked under and your left heel is trying to drag you back. You feel all that action moving down your left leg towards the wall behind you. And again, right knee can be bent or right leg can be straight. And you're going to face forward, so squaring your chest forward. And this can be a pretty major twist, just like this. You can also take this down onto your forearms. And just like in that first twist that we did on our backs, rather than blowing through the resistance, what if you just breathe? And what if you move your breath in a way that spreads your rib cage wider? And if things start to become comfortable or more comfortable, maybe you walk your forearms more to the right. And then notice when it feels like you're dragging your left leg with you, and reach back again through that left heel. If you've walked your forearms to the right and your left elbow is in line with or a little bit more right than your right hip, maybe come onto your right fingertips with your elbow bent and then work towards straightening that right arm any amount. Any amount in this shape will be where you come into finding some resistance again. And then you breathe and see if your breath can create a little bit more comfort. And then as things get comfortable, maybe you look for a little bit more resistance. Not to seek out the discomfort, just to see if there's more space to be found. And all the while, your left leg is trying to stay plugged in to the wall behind you. We're just going to externally rotate your left thigh. Turn yourself back to the left and sit up so that you're in a wide-legged seat. Just kind of turn to your left. Just like in that first seat, it might be helpful to move your flesh diagonally back away from your sit bones. If you could drag your sit bones with your butt. You can widen the legs more if you'd like. We're going to come into a little bit of a fold. Again, coming into that first point of resistance, and then you pause. And as you breathe in your pause, can you extend your legs out longer? Can your legs try to actively grow longer in this shape? As this gets comfortable, maybe your elbows come down onto the floor, maybe they come down onto a block. And notice how you feel, especially the length on the sides of the waist. And roll back up to a seat. And bend your left knee. Setting your left foot along the inside of your right leg. Begin by your knee, if you pulled out nice and close to the pelvis. I like to roll my calf up towards the ceiling a little bit, and then close my foot in. A little rotation there. And then we're going to turn towards that right leg. Again, you might move the flesh back from underneath your sit bones. You might be propped up on a blanket. You come into Janu Shirshasana. Just head to knee pose, but I want you to think about head to big toe pose. So you're seeing how long you can get in your spine. And you're using this left leg, your left thigh really, as like a little paddle. So your left knee is going to push down and back to paddle you out towards your right foot. And you can always put some support underneath this knee if it feels uncomfortable here. You can hold the leg, you can strap the foot, you can hold the foot if it's within reach. If it's within easy reach, you can hold your left wrist with your right hand. Where could you soften more in this shape? Maybe it's the belly. Maybe it's your expectations. Maybe it's your jaw. Follow your exhale to the bottom of the breath. And then we'll inhale and roll up to a seat. And we're just going to take pigeon prep on the left side. The right leg can reach back behind you. You're going to prop it up. Support underneath the hips as needed. And you have support underneath your body, whether it's in Shavasana or a shape like this. It's like a little signal to your nervous system that you're safe. So if you notice it, if you feel into it, register it. Your nervous system maybe downshifts a little bit. And if you've been stuck in a place where you've been really keyed up, stressed out, if you do this a couple times a day when you're stressed, I don't mean half pigeon or pigeon prep, but just the practice of noticing that you have support underneath you and feeling into it for a little bit, you can start to train your nervous system to handle stress a little bit better. So that instead of your tolerance for stress getting shorter and shorter, you're able to create a little bit more space between whatever's stressing you out and your reaction to it. And it's easy. You can do it anywhere. In your car, I feel the seat underneath me. Okay, feel that for a couple beats. I've gone through periods of intense stress where focusing on the breath just actually makes it worse. And so this practice has been really invaluable. or like just taking deep breaths is not gonna cut it, but just taking a minute to feel my feet on the ground has been really helpful. All right, let's sit over on the left hip. Take out your support. Align your left thigh with the front of your mat. Left knee can be bent, or left leg can be straight. Right leg straight behind you, toes tucked under. We push into that with your heel. And then turn your chest forward. Maybe come onto the forearms. Notice if you started to drag your right leg with you and plug that heel back in. So it's a lot of work for this back leg. Back leg can definitely get tired. Take breaks as you need to. But this work of really actively trying to reach this right leg back is going to go a long way in opening up that right psoas, those deep hip flexors. Maybe walk your forearms a little to the left. And just like we did in Cobra, the Sphinx pose, but without bringing it into a big back bend, you could still imagine kind of peeling your rib cage forward off your lower torso. I always picture it like peeling the shell off a shrimp. If your right elbow is lined up, or even further to the left of your left hip, maybe come onto your left fingertips, and then work towards straightening that left arm any amount. And what does it feel like to breathe in this shape? Where do you feel good? Where do you feel supported? And then follow your exhale to the very bottom of your next breath. And then inhale and unwind. You just roll right into your wide-legged seat. Find a comfortable seat. Maybe sit on the blanket. And then again, folding into that first point of resistance. And so we're practicing patience with our bodies rather than just trying to achieve a shape. Like, okay, this is where you're comfortable going. Okay, I'm going to stay right here and breathe with you. And then maybe you'll be comfortable with me inching in a little further. And then I'll stop and listen. Maybe back off, maybe stay, maybe creep in a little further. Feel strong through your legs. And on your next inhale, roll up to a seat. Bring your right foot to your inner left leg. Anywhere that feels comfortable on the knee. Again, I like to roll my calf up. And then turn towards your left leg. Might be enough just to turn. Maybe you come into a little fold. And that right leg, that knee is pressing down and back. That thigh is trying to paddle you out towards your left leg. Even if you don't go any further than that first kind of turn, you're still feeling that little action with the leg. Follow your exhale to the bottom of your breath. And then inhale, roll up. If you have a block, grab one. Folded blanket or pillows will do. I do like the solid feeling of the block for supported bridge pose. This is where we're going next. So coming into your constructive rest, just lifting the hips. Block underneath on whatever height feels right. Where do you feel held? And your hips are pretty obvious, right? Feeling how solid and heavy your hips are on that block. You let your shoulders be just as heavy. Can you let your head be just as heavy? You could stay right here. You might bring your knees up over your hips. You might bring your feet up over your knees. Viparita Karani. Return your feet to the ground. Take the block out. And let's come into Shavasana. And whatever control you've maintained over your breathing throughout practice, let that all go. Letting all of your weight settle into your back body. Letting your back body be held by the ground. If you have the time to stay longer, please stay. To close out practice, pull the knees in, roll to either side, and press it to a seat. Maybe bring your hands to the center of your chest. And we'll close out by chanting one Om.
Thank you so much. We feel good.